What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. Officer Tatum did not break the Nolan Wells case wide open. He brought an unverified story to YouTube, declared it more than 100% true, then started backing away from his own certainty before he even finished explaining it.
People are messaging me and telling me that there is heavy drinking and there's cocaine involved. And there's a particular person whom I know this person's name. I'm not going to disclose it. I'm going to go to the police first, and then I will disclose it if it doesn't interfere in the investigation. But this person allegedly was offering people cocaine, and someone close to Nolan, one of his friends, told me that this person was offered cocaine and rejected it from this person. And I was also told, and this person told me that it's over 100% chance that Nolan was using cocaine during this period of time.
Officer Tatum is not presenting this as some possibility. He is telling the public that Nolan Wells accepted cocaine from somebody on that island, and he claims that he is more than 100% certain. Based on what? Has he seen an official toxicology report? Does he have video of Nolan Wells accepting something? Has a verified witness given this information to authorities? Tatum don't know shit. He just gives us confidence and expects that to replace evidence. And that is the first problem. Confidence is not confirmation. A former police officer should understand that better than anybody. If you have information that somebody gave drugs to an 18-year-old shortly before his death, your first move should be contacting the people who are investigating his death. Your first move should not be going to YouTube and announcing that you have the story before everybody else. YouTube ain't no evidence room. Being first don't matter if you haven't verified what you're saying. And this is what makes Tatum's conduct look like it's being done in bad faith. He spent weeks attacking Nolan's family and the people who refused to accept that nothing suspicious happened. He spoke like we were pushing conspiracies just because we asking for answers. Now Tatum is introducing cocaine, a person who allegedly supplied it, an argument, and a mysterious incident that happened in the water. So when the family asks questions, they irresponsible. But when Tatum builds a whole new theory off unnamed sources, we are supposed to call that investigative reporting. Hell nah, that's a double standard.
So there's no issue with transparency. And I'll say this, the reason that I'm talking about Al Sharpton and them is because the first thing that they said was that he was there with white boys, therefore there had to been something. And then it goes back historically. Some of them compared this to the young man.
I've heard very different messages from them when they have said, we cannot assume that this is racist. But we cannot assume that it wasn't. So I'm going to correct you there.
Let me jump in here.
Who's that, Charles? Hold on. Charles, who said that? Who said that?
Literally during his eulogy, Al Sharpton said, we cannot assume that this was racist. And he said, we can also not assume that it wasn't.
This clip matters because it shows why Tatum's certainty should not be accepted without question. He made a claim about what Al Sharpton said at a public press conference. The press conference was recorded. The words were recorded. And another guest still had to correct Tatum's description of what happened. That is not somebody disagreeing with his opinion. That is somebody correcting his version of a public event. So if Tatum can misrepresent something that everybody watched for themselves, why should we automatically trust his description of what an unnamed person allegedly told him in private? That is a fair question. Tatum has built his entire position around the idea that everybody else has an agenda. The family is too emotional. Ben Crump is pushing a narrative. Al Sharpton is making things racial. But Tatum presents himself as if he's the only person in this story that can't be wrong. That is the problem. He don't approach information like somebody trying to find out whether it's true or not. He approaches it like somebody looking for information that supports the side that he's on. That's not investigating. That's narrative shopping. When one story stops working, he finds another one that allows him to remain the hero of the coverage.
This person said it was 150% sure that when the toxicology comes back, that Nolan will have cocaine in his system. Now, again, taking into consideration, this is somebody telling me this. I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it. I'm not able to verify it. but from the sources that I'm getting it from has been consistent, verifiable sources thus far, and hadn't been wrong about nothing. So there's a possibility that there's a person that Nolan may have been around or interacted with that is giving cocaine to people on this island, that Nolan may have taken the cocaine. And then also, I received a DM from someone DMing another person. Now, I'm trying to leave these names out because I want to not mess this investigation up. I think law enforcement already have this. That alluded to the fact that, and I messaged this person because I want to talk directly to the person that I saw the DM from. And we haven't talked to this person yet. But the person said in the DM to another kid that is associated, not any of the kids that I interviewed to talk to, but that could be associated to some degree, that knew Nolan, that this person wrote a message saying, me and my husband saw you arguing with Nolan, and to the effect of, you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Now, the person did not say they saw a physical altercation. The person did not say what time they saw Nolan and this other person getting into an argument. Now, this is after Warren, their boat left. This may be somewhere around a little bit before 6, right around 6 or a little bit before 6 p.m. Now, according to the autopsy, which I interviewed a medical examiner about this, there is no evidence of blunt force trauma or an evidence that Nolan got into a physical altercation. So I'm putting all this stuff together, what people are sending me and all that, and I'm trying to find a neutral point to share with you. What I'm thinking at this point, with all that has been said, is that somebody knows exactly what happened to Nolan, or they saw him right before he died. I am not convinced that Nolan was just out there and drowned. It could be. That could have happened. But I'm more convinced now than ever based on what people have been telling me and DMs that I've been seeing, people that have been verified sources, that has to be something with this cocaine. There has to be something with Nolan and a girl. And there has to be something with Nolan potentially being in either altercation with somebody, which would lead me to believe that that person saw Nolan last.
Officer Tatum is now putting an unproven drug allegation on a dead 18-year-old. Nolan can't defend himself. He can't question Tatum's source. He can't explain what he did or did not do during his final hours. That means any responsible person covering him should be more careful, not less. But Tatum is predicting what will be found in Nolan's system before he has shown the public an official result supporting that claim. He ain't saying it quietly. He is speaking with absolute certainty. What happens if he's wrong? Does he give Nolan's family the same size apology that he gave the accusation? Or does he move on to another video and pretend he never said that he was 100% certain? This is why I believe the family's attorney should preserve every clip. I'm not saying what legal claim they have or don't have. That's for the attorneys to determine. But every declaration, every contradiction, and every time Tatum presents an unverified claim, like a confirmed fact, should be saved. Because he wants the authority of a police officer, but the freedom of a YouTuber. And he appears to want the accountability of neither.
And that this other person that's giving people cocaine. So this person giving people cocaine, a girl, Nolan, and another person that he may have been in an argument with, to me, are people that need to be investigated. And I can say more, but I'm trying not to get anything messed up in this case because I want justice for Nolan and I want the boys that weren't involved in this to not get caught up in stupidity. So just so you guys know, I know the names of the cocaine person. I believe I know who the girl is. And I know the name of the person that may have been in an argument with Nolan. And there's nothing conclusive that anybody's telling me where there was violence that occurred. But that does not mean that the violence is ruled out. That does not mean that something could have happened in the water. Another report came to me of someone saying that they saw Nolan with a girl being intimate in the water to the point where it caught their attention, and they believed that they saw Nolan and this girl struggling in the water, not necessarily drowning, but struggling. Like it was obvious enough that the person was concerned when they saw Nolan in the water, and he was with this girl. And that the person explicitly said that they were being intimate, which I don't know what that means as far as just kissing, hugging, cuddling, or something else. But that's what has been told to me. And these sources I think, have been legitimized. But what they're saying, I haven't been able to verify. This is just someone saying this, and I'm telling you what I'm hearing. So when the toxicology come back, if there's cocaine in the system, to me, that will validate that these people that have been telling me this are being accurate. And like I said, somebody really close to Nolan made mention that they're almost 100% sure that he may have been partaking in the use of cocaine. And it's unfortunate. I've been knowing this, at least that part, for a while now, but I didn't want to put his name out there like that, given the fact that he just lost his life. But now that we're getting more information, the investigation is going further along, I'm just putting it out there, and we shall see if what is being told is accurate. But I'll finish it with this. I'm leaning more towards believing that somebody directly saw Nolan and know how Nolan died. That's my take on it. I don't think he was just drowning out there messing around. I think that somebody know more than what they're saying.
This is where Tatum's whole presentation falls apart. He says his sources are legitimate. Then 2 sentences later, he admits that it could be somebody just saying something. Which one is it? You cannot claim your information is more than 100% accurate, while also admitting that you don't know if it's just somebody talking. Those 2 statements don't make sense together. Either the source has been verified or the source hasn't been verified. Tatum uses certainty to sell the story, then uses doubt to protect himself if the story falls apart. That is not responsible reporting. That is an escape hatch. Then he says Nolan was being intimate with a female in the water, but he also says the person watching him couldn't tell if they were in distress or not. Were they being intimate, or was somebody possibly drowning? Which one is it? Those are not 2 small differences. Those are 2 completely different events. If the witness could not identify what was happening, how did Tatum transform that confusion into something he could present as a fact? Then he says he basically knows who gave Nolan the cocaine. Once again, why are we hearing it on YouTube? If you allegedly know the name of the person who gave drugs to a teenager, you take that name to the investigators. You don't hold it back like a teaser for your next episode. Authorities first, your audience second. Anybody who reverses that order is not putting the investigation first. They are putting their content first. And then Tatum says he has known this information for a while, but he didn't want to damage Nolan's reputation. Are we really supposed to believe that? This man has spent weeks attacking the people fighting for Nolan. Now he wants credit for quietly protecting Nolan's image. If he was trying to protect Nolan, he would not announce an unconfirmed drug story with more than 100% certainty. He would verify it. He would take it to the authorities before he brought his ass to YouTube. And he would wait until the evidence supported the claim before putting it on a dead young man's name. This is the main problem with Officer Tatum's coverage. He is introducing new elements that keeps the controversy alive, but he is not providing the evidence needed to make those claims real. First, there was no reason to question the original story. Now, there may have been drugs. There may have been an argument. Now somebody may have been in distress in the water. Now Tatum may know who supplied the damn drugs. He is not following the evidence where it leads. He is auditioning different stories until one of them gets enough attention. So I'm going to take y'all out like this. Officer Tatum didn't bring any clarity to the Nolan Wells situation. He has brought more confusion, more rumors, and more disrespect to a family that still don't even have answers yet. If he knows who provided the cocaine, give that name to the authorities. But if all he has is somebody saying something, then he needs to start presenting gossip like a toxicology report. The most pathetic part is not that Tatum could be wrong. Anybody can receive bad information. The pathetic part is watching him speak with absolute certainty, contradict himself, and still act like he is the only honest person covering this story. That's a damn shame. He ain't investigating this case. He is using the authority of his former badge to make unverified claims sound real. And every time he runs to YouTube before he goes to the authorities, he makes it clear who this information is really for. Not Nolan, not the family, not the investigation, his audience. Nolan Wells deserves better than that. The family deserves better than that. And until Officer Tatum provides verified evidence supporting these claims, his certainty deserves absolutely no respect. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.